No data? No problem. With the lowest data rates in the country, have extra fun with SLT Extra GB.
For more details, call 1212.
Tonight, Prime Minister's pledge to borrowers. The Premier assures a prime lending rate cut. Tombstone of capital punishment. President to mark the demise of the death penalty with a day of mourning. In the name of trade and tourism, Ports Authority mooting a ferry service with India. The hunt for a maiden World Cup. England chasing 242 to make history. All these stories and much more coming up on First at 9 this Sunday, the 14th of July 2019.
මුහුණ සති කීපයකට කලින් Fair and Lovely men ගෑවට පස්සේ මාක්ස් අඩු වෙලා ෆෙයානස් වැඩි වෙලා.
මාක්ස් අඩු කරලා ඔයාගේ ෆෙයානස් ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එක වැඩි කරගන්න. Fair and Lovely men anti-marks cream.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Well, a very good evening and welcome to First at 9 on AdaDerana 24, Sri Lanka's news channel. I'm Katharina Chang. On to your top story tonight. The Sri Lanka Ports Authority expresses its willingness to enhance connectivity with Indian ports using ferry services to facilitate easier trade and tourism. Its chairman, Kavan Ratnayaka, mooted the move, saying it will be beneficial for both countries. There were previous efforts being made to enhance connectivity between Sri Lanka and India when a ferry service was launched between Tuticorin and Colombo in 2011. It was, however, terminated after private operators running the service complained of its commercial unviability.
Chairman of the Sri Lanka Ports Authority Kavan Ratnayaka says that if Sri Lanka and India can set up a ferry service connecting Kankasanthurei port in Jaffna with Karaikal near Puducherry and between Colombo and Thoothukudi in South India, it would be able to facilitate tourism and small-scale trade both ways. Speaking to an Indian media outlet, he added that the Kankasanthurei port will also facilitate increased trade opportunities for communities living in proximity to the port and reduce the cost of road and rail transport for bulk items such as cement. He has also said that Sri Lanka is currently upgrading the KKA's harbour with Indian assistance of $45.27 million through an agreement signed with the Export-Import Bank of India. Speaking on recent developments of the East Container Terminal at the Colombo port, the chairman of the SLPA said that as per the agreement signed, Sri Lanka will have 51% stake in the terminal operating company, while the stakes to be held by Japan and India are being discussed. He was quoted as saying the joint working group negotiating the specific is scheduled to meet soon, and if all goes as per schedule, the terminal should have the cranes on the quays by August next year. Ratnayaka further noted that the idea is to play as one port with the different terminals catering to different market segments. Of the total cargo arriving at the Colombo port, only 19% account for domestic cargo. The remaining 81% is transshipment cargo, of which over 70% is linked to the Indian market. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today revealed that the prime lending rate in Sri Lanka will be dropped from 12% to 10% by the end of this month. Addressing an event held in Trincomalee today, the Premier also reiterated that the government managed to maintain a higher tourism attraction despite the effects of the Easter Sunday attacks. Under the national program to distribute 1 million title deeds, 2,000 of them were distributed for the Trincomalee district under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe today.
In January this year, the Lonely Planet magazine declared Sri Lanka to be the #1 tourist destination in the world, and I thought we lost the place after Easter attacks. However, by June, the Lonely Planet, along with another international magazine, still claims that Sri Lanka holds the #1 position as a tourist destination. We were able to revive the tourism sector from the effects of the Easter Sunday attacks. It took Bali 2 years to revive their tourism sector after the bombings in Bali Island. I instructed that we can't wait that long because so many depend on this sector. The only unfortunate thing though is that they always try to sabotage our efforts. They kept on saying that we won't be able to revive the tourism sector and that there were ISIS members across the country. We arrested every radicalized individual in 2 months after the bombings. Who else managed to do something like that before? They have seen their downfall up to the point where they couldn't even carry on the parliamentary debate with the required number of MPs. That is why we say that we will not be discouraged. I would like to tell you one thing, which is that the prime lending rate will come down from 12% to 10% by the end of this month. And other types of loan rates will not exceed 12%. I have instructed banks to reduce the rate to 8 or 9% soon.
President Maithripala Sirisena sees the abolishment of the death penalty as cause for grave concern, saying the day the abolishment comes to fruition, he will declare a national day of mourning. A private member's bill was presented in Parliament last week to repeal the relevant act. The President, together with Minister of Housing Sajid Premadasu, joined a ceremony to distribute title deeds to 5,000 farmers in Walawat today.
Drug trafficking is very dominant in Sri Lanka. I signed the death warrant in order to draw an end to this. Members of NGOs and certain foreign forces took to courts and got the implementation of the death penalty postponed to the end of October. Sajid Premadasu too conveyed that he agrees with the implementation of the death penalty. Omal Petera also told me to not take a step back pertaining to my decision. There is a case being heard in court, who also happens to be an underworld figure, killed 2 girls because they repelled his romantic advances. Should such people be given the death penalty or not?
මරණීය දණ්ඩනය දෙන්නේ ඕනේද එපාද? ඕනේ කියන අත උස්සන්න බලන්න. අන්න ඔක්කොම ඕක තමයි ජනමතය.
You say yes, meaning that it's the public consensus. Media reported of an act being tabled in Parliament with the objective of repealing the death penalty. The day such an act gets through Parliament, no one will be there to safeguard the children of this country from there onwards. There will be a kingdom of drug traffickers and the country will be ruled by underworld. There are politicians with links to the underworld and there are underworld figures in every government and in every opposition. It's the same today as well. But I will not stop the fight. If a bill to repeal the death penalty is brought to Parliament, I will declare that day a national day of mourning. I request the public to stand against the move to bring an act to repeal the death penalty.
වළක්වන්න මේ රටේ ජනතාව නායකත්වයේ ගන්නයි කියලා මම ගෞරවයෙන් ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා.
මොනෑම කාලවකවානුවක් තුල
The reason behind the delay of your land deeds being given to you is that former rulers did not consider you as citizens but slaves. As a person with a farming background, President Maithripala Sirisena had a sense of value on owning land. I would like to say that I stand beside the President in every initiative of his on underprivileged people. Being a strength to the President's program, I pledge that I will help you build your houses on your land if you're yet to do so.
විසඳන්නට ක්‍රියාත්මක කරනවා කියමින්
On other local news, the program Car Free Colombo was launched from the Independence Square this morning. Worked off to minimize the increasing traffic congestion in Sri Lanka, the event saw vehicular movement being restricted in some areas of Colombo for a period of 6 hours. The Colombo Municipal Council recently announced the city's first ever Car Free Day in collaboration with the Embassy of the Netherlands.
The program Car Free Colombo got underway this morning with the patronage of Mayor of Colombo Rosie Senanayake and the Netherlands Ambassador to Sri Lanka, Joanne Dawn Award. Bicycle races, art competitions, musical performances and many more events were organised parallel to the event. The objective of the program is to minimize traffic congestion in Colombo and its suburbs, which in turn will reduce poisonous gases being released to the atmosphere from vehicles.
I'm happy that it's taking place as a pilot for the citizens of Colombo to enjoy their own city, to see what it is to enjoy the roads without the traffic and just be out there on your bike or walk or stroll and have a good time together. And hopefully it take off in the future as well, that you can continue this kind of events. We have no plastics here. We try really to promote a healthy lifestyle. The Netherlands is very happy to partner with the city of Colombo to make this happen.
Measures were taken by police to restrict traffic on several roads in Cinnamon Gardens from 6 a.m. to noon. Accordingly, vehicular movement was limited in the area.
Opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa is insistent that identities of intelligence officers must not be made public during the proceedings of the Parliamentary Select Committee probing Easter Sunday attacks. Following a meeting in Colombo today, the opposition leader was also quizzed by journalists on the recent no-confidence motion against the government sponsored by the JVP.
The JVP never asked us to cast our votes against the government. We did it because we're against the government. These accusations are levelled at us by the JVP members who meet the Prime Minister each evening. Yes, that was because the Constitutional Council was convened. But we didn't talk about the number of votes. We only focused on matters related to the Constitutional Council. Definitely, and our candidate will surely win the election. The public is intelligent. They were hoodwinked the last time around and had to pay the price due to the economic downfall of the country. The national security is not at all ensured. People can't even go to places of religion. Usually it's not ideal to reveal the identities of intelligence officers because you must remember how many officers were killed by the LTTE after the Millennium City operation was revealed. Identities of these officers must not be revealed in front of media.
Meanwhile, leader of the JVP Anurukumara Dissanayake believes that it is time to awaken the society and create a people's force which will be powerful enough to rise up against the destruction created by those who govern the country. Dissanayake expressed these views at an event held in Colombo today.
Leftist political parties, civil organizations, scholars, professionals and a number of artists came together to establish what the JVP calls the new political force, titled Today for Tomorrow, National People's Power. Its official ceremony was held at the BMICH today.
Our country is moving towards a very destructive end. 3 political camps have been created in our society. One camp is working on a nationalist ideology that leads a very destructive path for the society. The second camp is leading the country towards a liberalist economic path, disregarding people's wants and needs. They are leading us towards an economic downfall by signing destructive agreements. At times, these 2 political camps work together and other times they work separately. Sometimes one camp adopts the methods of the other. However, both these camps are in power. There is a third camp which is dispersed and is working against these other 2 political camps. Our goal is to bring together this third camp. National People's Power will be the most powerful centre to bring together all these people. We are in the fight to awaken our society.
Muslim ministers and parliamentarians have decided to hand over a set of proposals to Minister of Justice Thalatha Attukorala tomorrow regarding amendments that must be made to the Muslim Marriage and Divorce Act. UPFA parliamentarian Faisal Mustafa said that they will take necessary measures to pass these amendments in Parliament. Muslim parliamentarians and ministers had held a discussion recently to come to an agreement regarding several amendments to the Muslim Marriage and Divorce Act. They have decided on 11 amendments, including increasing the age for marriage up to 18 years for both men and women, making bride's signature mandatory during marriage registration, and ensuring women's participation in quasi-judicial proceedings. The set of proposals will be handed over to Minister of Justice Thalatha Attukorala tomorrow.
The Muslim community itself argues that there should be amendments to the Muslim Marriage and Divorce Act. That is why all Muslim parliamentarians and ministers agree that these amendments must be made immediately. We hope to present a cabinet paper through the Muslim Religious Affairs Minister. I think these amendments will be presented in Parliament as well in the near future.
A suspect who had given a fake tip-off to the police emergency service hotline 119 over an alleged attack on the parliament was arrested at Alla last evening. Now, according to police media spokesperson SP Ruwan Gunasekara, the suspect had contacted 119 emergency service hotline on Friday and informed police that 8 Muslims who had gathered inside a mosque in Petta had been planning an attack on the parliament. Upon investigation, it was revealed that the suspect had given false information, following which measures were taken to identify the suspect. It was later found that the fake tip-off was given by 57-year-old Ahmad Bawa Muhammad Rauf. The police confiscated the mobile phone and SIM card of the suspect during the time of his arrest. On other local news, European Union's counter-terrorism coordinator Gildi Kashoff was called on leader of opposition Mahinda Rajapaksa. The meeting, which took place at the official residence of the opposition leader, was joined by the leader of Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Professor G.L. Piris, and several other parliamentarians. Opposition leader said that told the EU's counter-terrorism coordinator that he used to prioritize every single detail that concerns the national security when he was the president. The opposition leader has emphasized that he is giving his maximum support to the government at present. Meanwhile, Indian media say that the country's National Investigation Agency carried out raids at multiple places in Chennai and Nagapattinam yesterday, with officers of radical Islamic group Awate Islam Hind in particular coming under the scanner in connection with the Easter Sunday attacks in Sri Lanka. Quoting sources, the report said that 3 persons are being questioned pertaining to the raids. NIA officers had claimed that the group had contacted with some other banned Islamic organizations, adding that they are also inquiring if they were in touch with the perpetrators of Easter Sunday blasts. The NIA team is also probing if they were plotting to murder Hindu leaders. Another local news, China's rolling stock maker CRRC Qingdao Xifang Company Limited has produced 9 diesel trains for Sri Lanka. The new type of diesel trains equipped with 90 train cars are said to have rolled off the production line on Friday and are the 4th batch of diesel trains the company has produced for the island. Designed to travel at a speed of 120 km per hour, the new trains have more air-conditioned carriages and are equipped with facilities such as passenger information system, LCD TV and toilets designed for people with disabilities. Shinha says that they are also designed to withstand high temperature and high humidity in Sri Lanka. Well, we will join you with business news, but before that, we will join you right after this commercial break. Stay tuned. Market analysts expect the positive sentiment to continue in the debt and equity market over the course of next week. During this week, the All Share Price Index and the S&P SL20 gained 0.98% and 1.26% respectively, while recording an average daily turnover of 425 million rupees. We now have Achudan Srirangan from First Capital Holdings with your market forecast.
We expect the positive sentiment to continue in both debt and equity capital market. The secondary market, security market witnessed a buying interest last week with the local counterparties throughout the week, and we expect this to continue in the next week as well. And we expect the stock market to be positive during the upcoming week amidst the change in the sentiment. We also believe that the retail and high net worth activity to be on the high side with a heavy buying interest on selective counters.
Huawei Technologies is planning extensive layoffs in the United States as the Chinese telecoms equipment company grapples with its US blacklisting. The layoffs are expected to affect jobs at Huawei's US-based research and development subsidiary, FutureWay Technologies, which employs about 850 people in research labs across the United States. The layoffs could be in the hundreds, while Huawei's Chinese employees in the United States were being given an option to return home and stay with the company. Some employees have already been notified of their dismissal, while more planned job cuts could be announced soon. We will bring you the very latest from the World Cup, but before that we will go for a short commercial break, so stay tuned. Welcome back to the news. UK Ambassador for the US Kim Darroch may have resigned, but the cables he sent continue to rock the boat. According to a leaked memo written by the former UK Ambassador, US Donald Trump abandoned the Iran nuclear deal to spite his predecessor Barack Obama. The Mail on Sunday says Sir Kim Darroch described the move as an act of diplomatic vandalism. The paper says the memo was written after the then Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson appealed to the US in 2018 to stick with the deal. The latest leak came despite the Met Police warning against publication. The first memos criticizing President Trump's administration, which emerged a week ago, prompted a furious reaction from the US President, resulting in Sir Kim resigning from his role. Eight-time champion Roger Federer is taking on defending champion Novak Djokovic in the Wimbledon final, where a win would make him a 21-time Grand Slam singles champion. The match is in its fourth set, with Djokovic leading 2-1. And with that, we conclude this edition of First at 9. Thank you for joining us and have a very pleasant evening.